Let's get started with our webinar. In a world where divisions are becoming more visible every day, conversations about inclusion are not just important, they are absolutely essential. Today, we are diving into a topic that hits home for so many South Asian, like the surge of sexual violence against minority girls. This is not just a headline, it's a crisis that is shaping the lives and communities in a way that we can afford to ignore. Hello and welcome. My name is HEMAN and I'm a senior research associate at South Asia Research Institute for Minorities. You are tuned into our special webinar on targeted violence, understanding the surge of sexual crimes against minority girls. Today's discussion is a crucial one, and I'm glad you are here to be part of this discussion. The reality is that the minority girls, especially in countries like India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, are facing brutal and targeted violence. This violence is often go unreported and sometimes, or most of the times, unnoticed. And the worst of all, it often remain unpunished. Let's talk about numbers for a moment. According to the National Crime Records Bureau (NCBR) in India, crime against Dalit women, including sexual assault, increased by 47% between 2015 and 2020. That means that every day, at least or more than 10 Dalit girls or women are reported as victims of rape in India. And these numbers are likely underreported due to fear, stigma, and lack of access to justice. When we talk about the Pakistan, our 2021 report by the Movement for Solidarity and Peace revealed that an estimated 1,000 minority girls, particularly Christian and Hindus, are abducted and forcibly converted and married off every year. Most of these girls are under age of 18 and belong to economically vulnerable communities or families, making this even more vulnerable for these families. Over to Bangladesh, a 2019 survey by Bangladesh Dalit Excluded Rights Movement reported that 65% of Dalit women face sexual harassment, with most incidents going unreported due to the fear of retaliation and systematic discrimination. These are not just statistics, these are the real girls with real stories. And these story needs to be heard by everyone. At SARIM, we do not just highlight the issue, we do dig deep, conduct research, and advocate for change. And of course, we push our boundaries at our best so we can highlight these issues. We are today here to ensure that the rights of minorities are not afterthought but a central focus. And today is about giving a platform to the voices that are too often silenced. Let's meet the incredible women joining us in this conversation. Women leaders who are fighting for justice in their communities every day. First, we have a Shalin Maria Lawrence, an estimated author, columnist, and intersectional feminist, and a strong voice for Dalit rights and social justice in India. She has tirelessly fought against the systematic oppression for Dalit women and indigenous communities in her region. That brings the attention to violence, forced displacements, and the human rights abuses. Shalin, I know personally you that you are a powerful advocate for the Dalit rights, particularly focusing on the intersection of caste and gender-based violence. Starting with you, could you please explain how caste play in exacerbating sexual violence against Dalit girls and women? What patterns have you observed in the cases that come to your light, particularly in Tamil Nadu or overall in India? Over to you.
Okay, thanks, Heyman. Thanks for your introduction, and it's really nice to meet Rida and Tamanna and Zahra too. And it's good to connect with the women leaders across subcontinent. Yes, so I always open my session with you saying that I come from an intersection of being a Christian, Dalit, and belonging to the urban working class. So not just gender, but caste, religion, and as well as a marginalized location. So it is like by default the sexual harassment. It is like there is a public sentiment from the caste Hindus that from the caste Hindus or the upper caste, Muslims, or the upper caste Christians itself, that Dalits are, targets, easy targets for sexual harassment, especially Dalit women. Somebody wrote, like last week, somebody wrote, there's a lot of rape cases in India. So somebody wrote it's because of sexual, desperation and sexual depravity that, rapes are happening. So that's when I stepped in and I said that is not the sole reason for rapes to happen or sexual harassment to happen, because sexual depravity is a very smaller reason actually. But apart from that, there is power involved in rape and harassment. It's all about power. Caste also, the caste oppression also, it's about exerting power on someone who's below you in the caste varnashrama. Likewise, rape is also a power tool. It's used as a power tool. I've told many times that the Indian army has used it as a tool of power over women in Kashmir, women in Manipur. We've seen Manipur women protesting topless in I think the 90s. They protested topless, saying if you want to rape us, come rape us, but we will not change our stand. There were tribal women from Manipur. And then we have the minority Rohingya community who come into India, and how they've been raped and how they've been harassed in the border. And these are things which never been spoken about. This is all about, it's more than lust. It's all about, you should not come here. So I will use your body as a tool. All right. So in Tamil Nadu also, Dalit women, it is like, you're coming out right now. Oh, you're speaking against us. So what I will do is I will go ahead and rape you, so that rape is considered as a tool of humiliation. So if I rape you, I will dehumanize you. It also has another stand. Like, if a Brahmin man or an upper caste man wants to, dehumanize a Dalit man, he will go ahead and rape or sexually harass a Dalit woman who's associated with him, his mother or sister or, wife, because they think that, in order to attack your masculinity, to emasculate you, I will target your girl, your woman, because your family honor, because Brahminical thought is my family honor lies within the body of my woman. That's what they think. So obviously, end of the day, they think, oh, for him also, end of the day, he also should think his family honor lies in the body of his woman, their, reproductive organs, their uterus. So let me go ahead and rape them and emasculate them, so that the man will also feel, inferior and insecure. These are the power tools. So obviously, when people say rape is rape, all women are the same, then again, as an intersectional feminist, I have to jump in and say not all rapes are same. Certain rapes are, done because of caste, and there is class involved. For example, a big chunk of Dalit women or tribal women work as migrant laborers, and they also belong to the unorganized work sector as domestic labor. Okay, as they work as domestic maids, housemaids, and they have this in you, because we go and work with them. There's so much of POXCO cases on them, like child sexual abuse, because most of them are underage, minor children working as housemaids, and they are made to travel to different states, different parts. Every day, when you go to Delhi, south of Delhi, you get this Vasant Vihar, you get the news of Dalit children, young children being raped at the places where they work. So this is something which, it's going on for a long time. And what happens with the cases is, like, the case is not pursued at all. There'll be a sensationalization, and then there'll be an arrest. Within a couple of days, those people, the perpetrators, will be out, because these people are voiceless. The main reason they commit these crimes is knowing that these people will not be defended by the judiciary and the legal system in India. They know that they can get a bail easily and come out of it. They know that through money power, through caste power, through majoritarian, religious power, they can just come out. And also, people don't worry about them. See, for example, if there is an upper caste Hindu woman being raped, for example, the rape case in Hyderabad, it is very, very shocking, the way she was raped and all. My heart goes out to her. But she was a doctor. But the case was everywhere. Everybody was speaking about it. And, 3 people were shot dead next day, encountered, 3 lorry drivers, saying they were the accused. But after 1 year, we came to know that those people were actually not the accused, and it was fake encounters. So if it's the upper caste woman, then there is some sensationalization, there's so much of talk, and then 3 innocent people are also killed. But they also know when this happens to a Dalit woman or a tribal woman or a woman from, people like Kashmir or, in a refugee camp in Tamil Nadu, then obviously they know people will not worry about this woman, because the psyche of people itself is like, not all women are equal. Correct? When they are oppressed, will say, oh, I'm a woman. But end of the day, within women itself, intersectionally, a lot of women also, not just men, a lot of women also don't care for minority, tribal, and Dalit. That is the case, okay? Especially poor women from the marginalized sections. And then there is an intersection of poverty and caste also. So obviously, end of the day, most Dalit women are poor. So they can't even pursue the cases legally. And the government doesn't help them. It always aids the perpetrators. So there is a cycle of violence. There is a cycle of violence which goes through for a long time. And then when things like Hatras happen, Hatras became a huge issue because it happened in UP and Rahul Gandhi was using it as a political tool to oppose BJP. Okay. But at the end of the day, when I met Rahul Gandhi during Bharat Jodo Yatra, I was a Dalit delegation. I asked him, sir, similar situation is happening in Tamil Nadu, where your party is ruling, your alliance is ruling. Similar, the Dalit women are being raped here. Why are you not talking about it? He kept quiet. See, how rape is being used by politicians also. This is something which we need to constantly question. So we also question the people who support us because the support is very selective. It is not, widespread. The support is selective in only certain regions. And then end of the day, for example, when it comes to religious minority and tribals, the recent example is Manipur, the Manipur riots, right? So many women were, Christian tribal women were paraded naked. They were raped. They were killed. Not just few numbers. It was like hundreds of women were raped, gang raped, right? But none of the people spoke about it. Nobody went to protect them. See, there is one rape, Nirbhaya or the Kolkata rape. Again, my heart pains for them. But there's a whole outrage on it. But when it happens in Manipur on a larger scale, why is there a selective, neglect of what is happening in Manipur? For example, in Manipur, there's a video of the woman being paraded naked, right? They don't talk at all. So, and then you have this Shobian violence, right, in Kashmir. They don't talk at all about it. Because these people, and then there are a lot of irregular women in Tamil Nadu. They belong to the tribal community, and these irregular women, ST, they are very poor, and custodial tortures, custodial rapes on them is innumerous because these women are constantly, taken by the police on false theft cases and all those things. And then they're raped. And this also we don't speak about. It is like normalized. Certain rapes are normalized. Rapes on Christian, Muslim women, Pasmanda Muslim women, Dalit women, and rapes of, minority Hindu women in Pakistan or Bangladesh. Even now it happened, right? During the Bangladesh political war. And nobody spoke about it. It is like, when it happens politically, let's normalize it. And then when it happens as an individual excluded incident, then we'll talk about it. So there's a territory, there is a politics associated with rape also. So end of the day, it is like, it's like streaming within a closed wall. It's like, constantly I'm screaming. I'm like, talk about this, talk about Unnao, talk about Hadras, or talk about Manipur. Nobody wants to talk about. They even sometimes they talk about Dalit women cases once in a while for politics. But if it's a Dalit Christian, then again, there is a problem. The Christian women do not get, because if I'm not wrong, Christian women rapes are not just happening now. It happened during Kandhamal times also. In Kandhamal, Christian tribals who were converted to Christianity were burnt, they were raped, their houses were burnt, they were killed. And nobody spoke about it. And in Bihar, in 90s, the nuns were paraded naked. And in Madhya Pradesh, it happened. The nuns, they were raped and all those stuff. But people never spoke about it at all. Even now, when I speak to, when I work with the anti-caste movement, across the Christian church. So when I speak to them, there are priests and there are nuns across India from places in Uttarakhand or Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand. They said they are in a very risky situation. They can be sexually assaulted any time, they can be harassed at any time, and this is the situation there. And then you also know the POCSO cases, the number of POCSO cases, the underage, child sex abuse, which happens in India. A lot of children. The targets nowadays are the marginalized children who are, you can see a man taking a child from, a platform, sleeping next to a mother, a Dalit or a tribal child, and easily rape her and kill her because he knows at the end of the day there is impunity. Right? He will eventually come out. He believes in more than women believing in the legal system. The perpetrators believe in the legal system, that they know the legal system will leave them off. Because only 5% is the conviction rate in rape cases. There, I'm bringing you another, proportion. The SC/ST cases, the conviction rate is 5%. And then the rape cases, the conviction rate is 5% in India. So you can make the correlation, right? How it happens. So how the police destroys the evidence, how the police files a counter FIR against Dalits in SC/ST cases, atrocity cases. Same kind of a treatment is shown of victims or survivors of sexual assault, harassment. It is a pattern. So the police and the judiciary, no matter what caste they are, no matter what caste they are. They behave like a cishet Brahmin or Shudra male. They behave like a Savarna male in their mentality. They don't think about the marginalized, the woman, nobody. So obviously, right now, if you're going to say, people are saying that there are international organizations issuing caution that people traveling to India be very careful. Afghanistan used to be number 2, but right now Afghanistan has gone down. India has gone up number 1, number 2 as the most unsafe country for women to even travel. How many tourists are raped every day? How many tourists are molested? It all comes from this Brahminical mindset of, I am a man, I can do this to any woman and nobody will care about it. So it's not about the caste of the victims. It also depends on the caste and the majoritarian religious identity of the man who rapes them. You got the point? So the perpetrators also belong to a certain section. And the victims also belong to a certain section. So again, there is a study to be done there. So right now, living in India, it's very scary. So someone who used to travel a lot, alone in Delhi and, Bangalore. Right now in Bangalore and Delhi, if I travel alone, I'm like shit scared. So even in Chennai, apart from my area, if I go to southern places of, southern districts, I will be scared to the core, because that is the reality of minority women. Because there will be a car panchayat in police station saying that your rape is not considered any good. And then the judiciary also behaves like a car panchayat. They say, why did she go there? And these women are like that. You remember the last thing I'll finish. You remember the rape of Babri Devi in Rajasthan, right? Babri Devi was a worker and she stopped a child marriage. And end of the day, Babri Devi she was very old. She was like around 55 years old or 60 years old. And she was raped by dominant caste men because she stopped the child marriage within their family in front of her husband, gang rape. But when the case went to the court, they said she's an old woman and she's a Dalit woman. So obviously these upper caste men could have not raped her. This is what the judges said. So this is the entire situation which is, prevalent in India.
Okay. Thank you, Shalin. I mean, you talked about the harsh realities of the society and the power of the lust, and your perspective on caste and intersection. I mean, it's so critical, and it reminds that these layers of discrimination are often inseparable. Even the rape cases involving Dalit women are often ignored and downplayed, while those involving upper caste women receive more attention and outrage. This disparity reflects the deep-rooted caste biases in society and the justice system, where crimes against the marginalized or Dalit communities are frequently overlooked. Even when we talk about the Kolkata case, it is, being politicized, which is a brutal reality of the society. Now, moving on, turning to, we have a Tamanna Singh, who is a key advocate for the Dalit rights in Bangladesh. Tamanna, your work with the Bangladesh Dalit and excluded rights movement have been a game changing in Bangladesh. Kudos to you. And can you tell us more about the unique challenges Dalit girls in Bangladesh face, especially when it comes to the sexual violence and assessing justice? Dalit, you are the minority in Bangladesh. You are also a Dalit. So the how you navigate such cases. You have been recently to the UN for the side event. I'm the right person to talk about this issue. Over to you.
Thank you so much, all of the organizers. Actually, I am working in Dalit Women Forum as a project officer, and I'm also International Secretariat Affairs, Bangladesh Dalit and Excluded Rights Movement in Bangladesh. So, in Bangladesh, we have 7.95% minorities, and Dalit are 4%. Dalit are living in Bangladesh, different areas like hilly areas, tea plantation areas, and urban areas, and also rural side of Bangladesh, border side. Bangladesh, we have two types of Dalits, migration Dalits and non-migration Dalits. So, our Dalit community in Bangladesh, they are facing discrimination multiple, economical, social, and political, also religious. And we are facing her modern slavery in Bangladesh. So basically, Dalit are working in tea plantation, pig rearing, cleaning jobs, and shoemaker, and saloon works, specific low income group. So that's why they are historically and patriarchally they are discriminated every day, and every country of part in Bangladesh. Most of the in Bangladesh, most of the Dalit women and girls, most vulnerable and marginalized group in the society. First of all, they are Dalit, and then they are Dalit women. They are also discriminated in within the society as a Dalit woman. So we are working here about Dalit. We are working with Dalit women and girls since last 20 years. But we don't have segregated data, and we in Bangladesh we don't Bangladesh Constitution they don't recognize specific Dalit in Bangladesh, and also we don't have Anti-Discrimination Act and specific policy about Dalit or Dalit women. And last previous government they did some work about the budget and housing, and also on the Anti-Discrimination Act, but Anti-Discrimination Act now on the ongoing process, and they declared on the social welfare website as a backward community, not Dalit, as a backward community. But 15 years, 2008, some welfare, some ministry there wrote one word called Dalit. But in the middle time, 2002, I cannot remember this year, they again changed backward community. So now they call backward community, not a specific Dalit. So this is the problem. So we have not proper data about Dalit or about Dalit women. So in Bangladesh, Dalit women girls, they are now facing sexual harassment and forced marriage, also abduction, religious conversion, and trafficking, human trafficking, like border side of Bangladesh. And recent some political situation also the Dalit are affect various part of the Bangladesh minority all over the country that time attack, but specific Dalit are affected in this time. So this is very challenges for work in Bangladesh because our government is changed. So now is the new government. So we will try to sensitize the government. We are Dalit in Bangladesh. Please do some specific work, like put on the constitution specific Dalit and Dalit women, and also we have recommendation, collect the data and recognize as a Dalit, and do some work on the policy. So we will do this type of work with our interim government. So every sphere Dalit are marginalized in Bangladesh. In tea plantation now, just they are getting $1 per day. It's 1.78 taka only. Everyday wages per day they are getting this salary, so very low wages. So we're facing
Can I ask you something? $1 means like just 83 rupees per day they're getting?
$1 something. I cannot now, but 1.78 taka only.
Oh, okay, that's very less.
178 that's about. So very low wages per income. So our education rights is now we don't have education rights, properly land rights, and also health rights there, because company and government they are working both on the tea plantation area. Jointly they are doing work, company and government agreement, lease work. So labor are Dalit, from Dalit. So their worker rights is violated this time. This is the situation, and and also urban area like Dhaka city. Dhaka city, we are working now 38 colonies. So every colony, the Dalit are living 8 by 11 size of house, like both small house. They are living 3 or 4 generations in this house. So here is a discrimination and water and sanitation problem in the colony, and also low on income in Dhaka city. They're working in the city corporation area, cleaning jobs, sweeping and cleaning jobs. So Dalit women are most marginalized in the colony, Dhaka city, and out of the city, different part of Bangladesh. Urban areas, they also are marginalized and facing discrimination. And hilly side also, everywhere. Dalit, Adivasi, and also others excluded communities. In Bangladesh, we also have Urdu communities. They are also vulnerable here, most vulnerable. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tamanna. I mean, it is heartbreaking, but also so important to hear about the specific barriers these girls face. I mean, you brought up the new insights from Bangladesh that we were not previously aware of, and you're doing your work. I mean, the work you're doing is to dismantle them is also so good. Finally, I'm thrilled to introduce Rida Tahir. Rida is a UK-based barrister and advocate in high courts of Pakistan, specializing in human rights legislation. Rida, you have been doing some incredible work in our country, particularly around the rights of women and children in Pakistan. I would like to know what made you to focus so passionately on this issue in times when nobody likes to talk about this, and how do you see legal system playing a role in protecting minority girls from these crimes? So over to you, Rida.
Assalamu alaikum and namaste as well as greetings to you, Heman, to Tamanna, and to Shalin as well. I was listening to your perspectives. Thank you so much for sharing those with us so that we can have a mutual learning opportunity, because, we are in a similar region and we face similar challenges. So it's such a nice way for you to organize and bring us close together so that we three women can speak about the different experiences that women and the minorities and, those who are marginalized face. So first of all, I would like to say that sexual violence is a reality across the world, and Pakistan is not an exception to that. And of course, there is a violation of women. There is a certain sexual violence that is committed, not only against women and girls, but also one other thing this region has in common are the transgender individuals, who have also been facing quite a lot of marginalization as well as sexual violence. So being a lawyer, I would speak about certain reforms that have been taken place. And earlier, I also did some research in Bangladesh and in India on what, policies were there in place. So to some extent, some of those policies are similar as well, such as those one-stop protection centers and all. So regarding the policy related to forced conversions and ensuring that the rights of religious groups and those who are not in a majority are sufficiently upheld, after the 18th Amendment, the Sindh province enacted the Sindh Child Marriage Restraint Act, and in that act, it has been declared unlawful for both a male child and a female child under the age of 18 to get married. And it's a cognizable offense, which means that the police can lodge an FIR, as well as it is a non-bailable offense. And the police has also been given the powers to stop the marriage even before it is taking place through an injunction. So that was a remarkable piece of legislation that has helped in stopping at least 300 child marriages before they are committed. And that is crucial, because sometimes when a marriage is committed, then the child has to go to the court and get a legal disqualification from the marriage or separation from the marriage. So that is one of the reforms that was introduced in 2013 in the Sindh province of Pakistan. But then at the federal level, recently we have reformed our rape laws, and we had a similar section 375 in the penal code. We call it the Pakistan Penal Code, and India calls it the Indian Penal Code, and I'm sure in Bangladesh, the situation is the same. But that is like not a reformed piece of legislation. It belonged to the British colonial era. So recently in 2022, we enhanced that law and we increased the scope of that law. We made sure that there were transgender individuals included, because before that, prior to that in the law, the transgender people were not provided the protection. And the children, the male child, we had section 377, which is a natural offences for that. And that was reformed to include the rights of the boys, the young boys, because there have been certain reports boys are vulnerable just as much as the young girls are under the age of 18, and they can be manipulated and victimized and intimidated because they belong to a marginalized group as well. But of course, women and girls are always more marginalized, especially when facing challenges of intersectionality, belonging to a different religion. So to that extent, that was enhanced, and now rape can be committed through objects or penetration of any other object. Earlier, it just had to be penetration of the bodily orifice or the organ of the male person. So now that is included to enhance the scope, because it is such a complex crime, and that is something that it needs to be covered in every aspect of it. So that was another thing. Regarding the fact of the conviction rates, yes, the conviction rates are slow. They need to be enhanced. They need to be quickly expedited. So there are certain provisions that were included in the law for that. One of these things which were included was the fact that the trial needs to be completed in 3 months. There is a challenge in the implementation of that timeline. Legally, it has been mandated that it needs to be 3 months, but it does take more than 3 months. It can take even up to 2 years for a case to be completed. But we are trying to work on that to decrease that gap, because the criminal justice system actors are often insensitive. The FIR is not lodged. Sometimes, the family brushes them aside, because sometimes, most of the time, sexual violence crimes are not committed by strangers. They are committed by the people living in your own neighborhood. They are living in your own house. Their relatives, shops where you go to, shops where women and girls and children, they frequent. So that matter is brushed aside, because at the end of the day, like Shalin was saying, it all comes to honor. And when we feel like a crime has been committed, but that stigmatizes us on the basis of the honor, then that is hidden. Then that is brushed aside, and the victim does not, or the survivor does not have access to justice. So that challenge remains there. Another thing, that to decrease the insensitive treatment, there are separate gender-based violence courts now in Pakistan. I would be happy to learn from Shalin and Tamanna of the experience in India and Bangladesh. If I'm sure they must be utilized. Special courts where only the trial of sexual violence are taking place, violence against women or children are taking place, so that we can humanize and give a supportive environment to the victim and to the survivor, with video link, with curtains, making sure the victim and the survivor does not have to face their perpetrator. Because in cases of forced conversion, child marriage, who are they scared of? They are scared of the people who in front of whom they have to give their evidence, those who are the offenders. So to protect them from those, that is another initiative that is being taken. And then something similar to the one-stop protection centers, we call them facilitation centers. They have different names, but that is just like a stop where the police is there, the medical treatment is there. So when a rape victim does not have to go to the thana first, in the hospital then, and then the forensics, and then the DNA, you sit in that one room in a public hospital where the police lodges your FIR and you get the treatment. So one of these CRCCs have already been established, but they are trying to replicate, because you need to make sure that they are everywhere across the country. So that must be done. And the resources are being put into place to do that as well. So these are some of the initiatives that are being taken. We have special police officers tackling crimes of sexual violence. So that is something I wanted to explain with regards to the changes that have been brought. And after this law was brought in 2021, the conviction rate increased significantly from 4% to 16%. So we see that these are the initiatives that are working. And the more we work on them, the more we make sure that the victim and the survivor do not face an insensitive treatment by the criminal justice system actors, the more this conviction rate will increase, which will send a message to the perpetrators that you cannot go scot-free. You have to pay for your crimes. You will be punished for them. So there is a deterrence effect in the society. So now I would be happy to hear from Shalin or from Tamanna if similar initiatives are being taken, and what we have up for discussion, if anything at all, or any questions at all.
I'm actually glad, Rida, to listen these things from you, because in India, it's right now we're regressing. I think you have a better laws than my country. Because right now they brought in 3 laws called Bharatiya Sanskrita something. The IPC has been changed into some Sanskrit thing, okay? And right now it's Bharatiya Sanskrita something. I can't even pronounce it properly. So that law actually condemns, it talks about fast-tracking rape crimes cases, but at the same time, it does not protect male victims. So a rape on a male or a trans man or a trans woman will not be considered as a rape. This is very dangerous. This is something that activists are trying to talk, but we've not been able to speak about it. But I think the law just came recently, 3 months back. So we need to talk about that. And then the one-stop center, you said, right? We actually need something like that, because what happened was even last month I'm actually dealing with a rape case of a 23-year-old girl who went to her native to get her bank things in place, and she was raped just next to her home by 6 men. And she was raped at 3:30. She decided, like, I will not stay silent. She said, okay, let me go to a police station. So she went to her home, changed her clothes, and went to a police station, which is like 5 kilometers away, 1 kilometer away. They treated her very badly, made her sit there for 2 hours without giving her any first aid, medical, nothing. And from there, imagine she was being gang raped. And then from there, she was sent to a hospital. So they said, go get a certificate from there. And then when she went to the hospital, she was made to sit there for a couple of hours at the OP, outpatient center, where she was not treated. Again, she fainted there. And then the doctor came, the CMO came and said, oh, I can't treat you here because you have to go back to get the police thing. And when she went to another police station, all women's police station, the all women police station said, oh, we don't cover this here. So you have to go to another police station, which is 28 kilometers away. And then she ran from there to another 28 kilometers away. And it was almost 10:30 in the night. And then she didn't have food. She didn't have anything. She just went there 10:30. And that police station put her in a hospital at around 11:30 in the night. And it took almost 20 hours for her to file an FIR on this and almost 15 hours to get medical treatment, first aid. And this is hard, and nobody cared about it. When the news came, nobody cared about it. So we went ahead, we wrote about it, and then we expedited. I published as a news, and every news agency came up with it. Outlook came up with the news. After that, only I went and met the victim, and she said, I wanted to punish them. There is no way that a village woman like me would go ahead and give a complaint. In our village, these men have already done this to other women, but since these women did not give complaint, they did it to me. So I thought I will go and give a complaint, and I will get them punished so that this will stop. But look what happened to me. They made me run pillar to post in this medical situation. And then there was a false allegation. The police went ahead and said false things about her, like, that she was having sex with her boyfriend, all those, fake propaganda. So then we started talking about medical treatment. We contributed and we spoke about compensation from the government and everything. So what you said, this one place, end of the day, sex is dehumanization. And also it also depends, the onus falls on the victim. So end of the day, how to safeguard the victim rights. Victim rights is zero in India. Victim rights is zero in India. Victim is only blamed and shamed. So to the government to think about a one-stop place for where she can go, get admitted, get the police coming there, treating her properly, and taking care of her. This is something which if you have a case study or something, document, Rida, please send it to me. And I also want to, your video, I really want to cut it out and put it across, on my social media handle, because this is something which is very important. Right? We have to have one-stop places for this so that the conviction rate also will increase. And then what Tamanna said, the plantation workers, because I can just imagine, like, I've never been to Bangladesh, but for me, it's like Bangladesh, I've seen what is happening, because the tea plantation workers here, they're even shot dead. Most of them are women. But whenever they ask for a raise, for 10 rupees raise or a 10 paisa raise also, they're shot down by the state government, and all of them are Dalit women. Their children also killed. So there's a lot of things which involves about the sanitation of these workers, the sanitation needs, and then there's labor needs and all those stuff which is not met. So it seems like, we have 3 different countries with same problems, but at least some of them are actually improving the situation with, updating the acts, because as Rida said, IPC is a colonial act. It was brought down in that mindset of the British officers who were kind of misogynist, who were kind of, reserved, conservative and all those stuff. But end of the day, after the constitution, at least now we could have made changes to it, right? But instead, India has made regressive changes to it. And at least Pakistan has done something good. I wish, we can replicate, we can have, this kind of a conversation where we can, replicate things like, about plantation workers. We can talk about what we can do together. And then about, because most plantation workers, tea plantation workers and sugarcane plantation workers across the world are Dalits, are migrants. So obviously, end of the day, we need to talk about this. And we need to talk about what can be done, because we need legal interventions. We need lawyers. Not just activists, but activists and lawyers who can work together to sort out this. So we can't think like Bangladesh, Pakistan, and India. We have to think as one unit, like one subcontinent. And end of the day, in this subcontinent, women are treated the same, depending on their minority situation and marginalized situation. So let us work on similar concepts of, rehabilitating them and getting them justice. I think this is what we didn't have, because we're only talking here, and we were talking in UN, and then we'll talk in America, we'll talk in UK, people who don't know about us. But end of the day, there are women who almost are like, these women are my own blood, right? From Pakistan or Bangladesh, they are my own blood. And end of the day, we share the same pain and same oppression. So we can give together above the borders, across the borders, we can come together for solutions for the welfare of all women of the subcontinent. This is something which I would like to take from this particular session.
Thank you very much, Shalin, for putting on the Rida's point, and thank you also, Rida. Your work is truly inspiring, especially in the context where legal system often short of offering legal justice for minority girls or minority communities, in that particular in Pakistan. Like Shalin said, how rape is used to show power by upper caste people in India. Tamanna highlighted the heartbreaking stories of Dalit women who are discriminated on work and dissent. And Rida mentioned about the reforms and initiatives that we don't see our media highlighting or talking about that. The webinar is full of, information and full of insights. As we conclude this powerful discussion, I want to thank you, each of you, for being the part of this essential conversation. I'm very glad, honestly, that we had a powerful and insightful discussion on this critical issue that needs to be talked about. And the issues we have talked about today, like like sexual violence, intersection, and the systematic discrimination. Which are not just a regional challenges. India has the same challenge, Pakistan has the same challenge, Bangladesh has the same challenge, but also we see same crisis globally. They demand our attention and action. The courage and resilience and the dedication to our three powerful women panelists, Rida, Shalin, and Tamna, serve us as a reminder that change is possible in the face of immense adversity. But this is not just the beginning. Every story we have heard, every state that is shared represents life that can must be protected. It's now up to all of us to carry forward this message of Rida, Tamanna, and Shalin to advocate for justice and ensure that minority girls, wherever they are, no matter in every part of the world, can live free from any kind of fear. Together, lastly, let's keep pushing the boundaries, raising our voices, and standing up for those whose voice often go unheard or silenced. Thank you again to our panelists and to all you turning in and commenting to being part of this powerful session. Let's continue to fight for justice, equality, and dignity for all the women around the world, not just the minority women. And let's carry this conversation forward and continue the work for building safer, more inclusive world for all the girls, all part of the world. More power to these three women from different part of the world. Thank you very much for being with me for this session.
Thank you, Heman. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.